Hello again. We're going to do the bandsaw. Now, what I'm going to hopefully get through to you is the essential components that's needed to operate the bandsaw's safety measures that's in place. And we're going to take a look at a few things. From the front, if you remember from the handout, if you have the handout, that's great. We're going to take a look at the handout again. So if you have this handout, great. It should be available on Schoology. There's rules on the back. We'll go over them. All right, now we're going to take a look at all the parts first, and then we're going to get into how to operate it. Just so you know, here is my tension adjustment knob up at the top. You can see that the tension adjustment knob has a spring on it, and this makes sure that the blade is very, very tight. So please do not touch this. This is a no-touch knob, basically. In the back, we have the blade guard adjustment knob, and this is our blade guard height adjustment. All right. So there's two black knobs for this particular bandsaw that we need to operate in order to use the safety measures of the bandsaw. I'm going to get into that. As we go around here, you'll have the table and stage, just like on the drill press. This is your lower wheel guard. This is your upper wheel guard. And here's your on-off switch. To keep it into perspective, once again, just like in the drill press, the on-off switch is operated with your left hand and left hand only, not your right hand. 99% of the work is done with your right hand and left hand on the drill press, or you could use one hand at a time. It is okay to use two hands on this one. It was not okay to do that on the drill press. So let's learn how to use the bandsaw's safety measures. All right, I'm going to go over this as best as I can now that you can see it and it's recording. All right, so we have two knobs. This is going to be what locks the bandsaw guard in place. So I'm going to take this and loosen that. And that allows this one to go up and down. I'm just using it with the opposite hand so you can see it because the camera was blocking it. All right, so now we see this guy go up and down. What we're going to do is we're going to take whatever we're going to cut and place it on the table. All right, and now that we have whatever we're cutting on the table, we're going to lower the blade guard to just like a finger's thickness above whatever we're cutting. All right, so it really isn't that far, like 1/8 of an inch. And then what we have to do is lock it into place. If we forget to lock it into place, this guy will be pretty loose. We always start with the piece of wood away from whatever we're cutting. We do not place it on the blade while the machine is off. Keep it off. You'll probably have a mark as to what you're going to do. I'm going to turn this machine on, and I'm going to use a little bit of scrap wood to push my item through if my finger is too close. You can see here I have an extra piece. I'm going to cut right through. So what I'm going to do is I'll put one hand here and the other one with the stop. Wait for the machine to come to a complete stop. And I'm ready to go. Okay. Now, while students are cutting, there are occasionally issues with parts that are so small falling down into the cracks. You could obviously see that we might be cutting small pieces off. If these small pieces fall down, take the time to clean them out. You're going to do it as follows. You're going to shut the machine off. You're going to open up the doors. Let's just take a look at how to open up the doors. On this particular model, there's a black button. Push that in, and it de-locks it from there. You're going to do it again down here, and that opens up the door in the front. With the door opened in the front, you can see that you can now clean up or vacuum out anything that might have fallen down through the table slot. Let's close that back up. Okay, and let's talk about relief cuts. So if you're going to have your piece of paper taped down and it has some irregular shape to it, the bandsaw doesn't like sharp edges. So we're going to do things called relief cuts. The first relief cut you can see here drawn in green allows the blade to come in and then back out, and then we do it a series of times so that we don't turn the blade as it goes through. That's a good amount just for those areas. Let's start. Step 1, unlock the guard, raise the guard a little bit above the material being cut, lock the guard in place, make sure that there is nothing interfering, make sure you're not wearing jewelry, your goggles are on, your sleeves are rolled up, and you use your left hand to turn the machine on. Get this nice and close so you can see it operating. Hopefully it's not like a really loud cut for you guys. Imagine if I injured myself while cutting. While cutting this, and it's all recorded. All right, there we go. Relief cuts first. All right. So here are 3 relief cuts. And what I'm going to be able to do is to come in with the bandsaw and meet each of these end points. Actually, I think I need another one here because this is just a really tight turn right there. And now I'm ready to go. What I'm going to do is start from the back here and come through here and just do the top of this. All right, getting some good cuts. All right, so that is how relief cuts are used. You can see that now you get a very nice curve to it because you started using a lot of slots that provides relief by these parts falling off intermittently as you come through for your final cut. And note the other most important thing is this is where I drew my line for what I'm cutting. However, I stayed on top of the line. I did not cut actually on the line. That's a very good thing to remind yourself of doing. Never cut directly on the line right here because we still want to do some sanding later on. And if you don't have enough stuff left over to sand, you're going to be upset by it. Okay? That's how you use the bandsaw for the CO2 car design. We can now take that hand out and flip it over. And what I'm going to do is try my best at describing some of the rules. All right. So bandsaw safety rules and procedures. Number 1 is easy. Number 2, that's easy. Number 3, yes, that's easy. Number 4, yep, goggles on. 5, remove jewelry. Yep. Ensure there's no nails or foreign objects in the parts. That is very important. These guys don't like metals. Allow the blade of the saw to reach full operating speed. So I'm just going to reiterate that. That was when I said don't push whatever you're cutting against the blade and then turn it on. Have it away and then turn it on. Do not force the cut. Firmly hold the material with both hands and feed in at a moderate speed. Now, if you feel that you're pushing in and pushing in and pushing in, the blade is probably dull. These guys are meant to cut nice and smooth, specifically through this amount of wood. Keep fingers and hands away from the blade, leaving 4 inches of space between your fingers and blades. Now, that was a really good thing to remind yourself of. Like, if you do not feel comfortable getting your stock too close, remember you could always use a piece of scrap wood to hold your design in, and then use that to navigate your piece against the blade. Keep your face and body to one side of the blade. Adjust the safety guard so that the upper guard is about 1/4 of an inch above the material being cut. Remember, that was what I did right there. I adjusted the lock, adjusted the height, made sure that it was a little bit off, and locked it back into place. Never back out of curved cuts. That's what we were doing. We were doing relief cuts in case we did have to back out. All right. If you encounter a problem or the blade breaks, turn the bandsaw off. Leave your cutting material in place and notify the teacher. Turn the machine off and wait for it until it has come to a complete stop before removing scraps. Remember, you could always open these guys up and then clean everything outside. All right. And then switch off the saw and reset all guards to a fully closed position so that you leave it in. If you want, at the end of the day, we just close this and then we vacuum everything up with our machines that we have to vacuum. I think that is everything nice and easy for the bandsaw.